We began as an organization in 2019, and we weren't really sure what we wanted to do beyond network with teachers. And when Senator Martin approached us to create a resource about the Korean War, it felt like a really great first project for us to bring teachers from across Canada together.
Je pense que la guerre de Corée, c'est une guerre qui est un peu méconnue, qui est pas tellement enseignée, en tout cas au Québec. Puis je pense que les enseignants ont besoin d'avoir des ressources et que des fois, faire des recherches en profondeur, pour eux, c'est comme ils manquent de temps. Donc, ils apprécient toujours d'avoir des choses qui sont montées. Puis c'est un projet qui est quand même clé en main, mais qui peuvent adapter selon leur classe les besoins de leurs élèves.
I realized that it was a part of history that I don't know as much as I'd like to know about. So there was an element of my own personal learning curve that I found might be addressed. And I also knew from my time in the classroom that there aren't many good resources about Canada's involvement in the Korean War.
The more you can kind of talk to students at that age about what they can do and how important civic values are and how important remembrance is and how important all of those ideals are, the more impact you can have on them for their whole lives.
As a history teacher, I'm also, a war buff as well, and had to, do some more research into the Korean War and, the fact that it's often referred to as the Forgotten War. It was good for my own knowledge building.
We all teach social studies, but it's not a specialty, and so sometimes it gets lost in the push on literacy and numeracy. However, I think social studies it's humanities, and it's what kind of ties us all together.
So I had read a little bit about the hockey game in 1952 that the troops played behind the lines when the Imjin River froze over. And so the river froze over and they thought, could we play hockey on this river?
They were trying to raise the morale of the soldiers that were there during the conflict. And so the government of Canada supplied a lot of hockey gear for the soldiers to play hockey with, and they named it the Imjin Gardens and set up this hockey rink. And so when you're looking at these photos, it's like, really? Like, this is something that happened, like just behind the front lines is where this hockey game took place. So that was a story that I really had no idea about, and that's something that my students as 14-year-olds, as Canadians, can really connect with.
On voit dans les histoires des anciens vétérans tout ce qui s'est passé là-bas, puis aussi il y a d'autres histoires qui ont été racontées, notamment par le correspondant de guerre qui était à l'époque René Lévesque. Et puis il a raconté des histoires sur ce qui se passait là-bas qui relate un peu comme tout l'esprit d'entraide, de solidarité, puis de voir aussi au bien-être de la population.
The reason we teach history is so that we can understand how we got to where we are today and how we might use that information to shape how we move forward. The students in our classrooms today will be making those choices for the next several decades. If they can understand what has worked in the past and what hasn't worked in the past, perhaps we can make the best choices possible in the future.
There is this urgency to share the knowledge of what these people experienced so that, we might be able to avoid this kind of conflict if at all possible.
Mon espoir toujours en tant que pédagogue, c'est d'amener les jeunes à développer leur pensée critique, leur pensée historique par rapport aux événements qui peuvent se passer dans le monde. Puis être capable de voir au-delà de ce que une personne peut dire, qu'il y a différentes choses à réfléchir, comment on argumente, comment on se documente, comment on travaille avec les sources.
So we're really taking all of our expertise, our combined expertise as a team, and putting them into these lessons and making them accessible for any teacher to pick up and use.
My hope is that this resource helps students develop the critical thinking skills that they need to face the 21st century. That was my hope, that they could take those skills and look at the situation now and in the future, and like really have a conversation about, what do we want in this world? And I think we all want a peaceful place, but the reality is it's not sometimes. And so what do we have to do to work towards that?